so glad to see all of you. Hopefully you're not too sleepy to see me, or you'll watch this at another time and join me in some prayers and activities of a spiritual nature. I am going to read some things about the nature of the divine. Here we go. Just close your eyes and feel these words as they vibrate through you and in you. Good morning, Taryn. How nice to see you. I love it to see people online and see who's here. Do feel free to check in and say hello while you're here, because it's always good to know who's in the audience. Okay, this is the nature of the divine. Close your eyes. The queendom of the divine is within. The divine and I are one. I and the divine are one. It is the great Creatress's good pleasure to give me the queendom. The divine is the only power. There are not two powers. The divine is infinite. The divine is infinite being. The divine is infinite intelligence. The divine is infinite consciousness. The divine is my individual consciousness. The divine is infinite supply. The divine is infinite love. The divine performs the work I am given to do. The divine doeth the works, not I. The divine withholds nothing from me. I have to adjust the lights because they're flickering. The divine already knows what's needed. The divine is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Electricity is responding. The divine is not punishing me or you for any reason. Neither do I condemn thee. The great creatress, the divine, does not judge me or you. Therefore, there is nothing to forgive. The nature of the divine is pure good. And let us remind you, the divine and I are one. I and the divine are one. The nature of the divine is pure good. The divine is always expressing goodness. The divine is pouring forth every good thing into expression. The divine takes no pleasure in sacrifices. The divine, as infinite intelligence, is beyond my influence. I accept the divine's will for me. The divine is omnipresent. The divine is omniscient. The divine is omnipotent. She is all power, the only power. The divine is wherever I am. Wherever I am, the divine is. The divine's grace is my sufficiency. The divine is love, and in the divine there is no death, no vengeance, no hate, no judgment, and no punishment. The divine is life. The divine is life, and being infinite, life cannot end, not for any reason, sin, accident, or disease. The divine is closer than breathing, nearer than feet. The divine's love is given to the entire world. The divine's love is given to the entire world. The divine's love is given to the entire world. There is no limitation. The divine's love is given to the saint and the sinner, the just and the unjust, the rich and the poor. I reject claims of illness or victimization. They are nothingness, mesmeric influence. They have no power, no law, of the divine behind them. The divine is the only power. No illness exists in the queendom. The divine won't do anything that the divine isn't doing now. The divine made all that was made, and all that she made is good. What the divine did not make was not made. Therefore, anything she did not make does not exist. Therefore, anything she did not make does not exist. The divine is my supply. I may be deprived of savings and wealth, but they are only the physical evidence of supply. They are not supply itself. The divine is my supply. My soul, created by the divine, is spotless. There isn't anything I could ever do to change that, because the divine is my soul. The divine is my very being. I recognize that all evil is impersonal. It comes from an impersonal source. The belief in two powers, the belief in evil and good. I and the divine are one. There is only one power. There are not two powers. Settle in. Let that phrase go over and over throughout your mind. I and the divine are one. I and the divine are one. The divine and I are one. I am the divine. The divine is me. Breathe that in. I and the divine are one. I am The divine and I are one. The divine and I are one. The divine and I are one. I and the divine are one. The divine is infinite intelligence. The divine is infinite peace. The divine is pouring forth all goodness into expression. The divine and I are one. I and the divine are one. I and the divine are one. You and the divine are one. We and the divine are one. The divine is the only power. The divine is the only power. I and the divine are one. 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 My soul, made by the divine, is perfect. I and my soul and the divine are one. The divine and my soul and I are one. I and my soul are one. I and my soul and the divine are one. The divine is the only power. 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 The divine and I are one. The divine and I are one. I and the divine are one. I and the divine are one. I and the divine are one. The divine And I are one breath, one being, one source, one supply, one creatress, one power. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this. Thank you for oneness. Thank you for the divine. Thank you for all that is. May you walk in grace today. Please, if you enjoyed this meditation, like, subscribe, share.